November 29th, 2019.
This is Nerd Bourbon episode 130. I'm Seth Sturgill.
And I'm Todd Sturgill.
Hello, Todd.
Hello, Seth.
Have you engorged yourself in the American fashion, as is tradition this week?
I mean, I know how... technically, this is weird. It's a weird question, because it hasn't happened for us yet.
That's correct. I've created a time vortex for you.
And here's the thing. I already know how my Thanksgiving is going. So
the time vortex remains, as you can see into the future. Well, what are the Thanksgiving plans, Todd? We're recording this the day before Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving Eve.
Well, I know my plans. I'm going to work at least 10 hours tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to come home, heat up a banquet. No, I'm just playing.
I was about to say, you're going to go for that level of
no, I'm not
depressing.
Heat up a turkey banquet.
Yeah, turkey banquet with fucking frozen gravy.
I mean, honestly, personally what I'm thinking about doing is I'm thinking about making I have this shrimp and crab ravioli I want to fuck with.
Okay. That's going to be the Thanksgiving meal, huh?
Well, I don't give a shit. I'm not really doing it. I mean, everybody's gone in my family, so I'm just going to do me.
That's fair. Now, you know what you could do? You could do with my family's Jewish, and so they just go have Chinese for Christmas.
I mean, I respect it.
It's kind of a typical Jewish thing. It's almost like a stereotypical Jewish thing, honestly. So... They go to a Chinese restaurant for Christmas. They don't care. They don't celebrate these holidays. They don't give a shit. You know what also comes with part and parcel of Thanksgiving, Todd, is Black Friday. You a participant in Black Friday? You get trampled?
I never have been, and I don't care. I'm more of a Cyber Monday.
Cyber Monday I can do from my home. Cyber Monday can be performed from my cave.
And I could do Cyber Monday without the fear of dying.
That's true.
Even though maybe that's why I should do Black Friday.
If you got a death wish, look. Try to get between some fucking old lady and her like fucking $200 4K TV.
Did I tell you that? We actually have Black Friday shit going on at my job.
Dude, it's so stupid. Can we talk about how Black Friday is just meaningless now? So, a couple things. I was looking online today on Twitter, and somebody was talking about, if you have a red card, or whatever the fuck it is, Target's Black Friday deals are live now.
Oh, no, dude. Yeah, we dead ass. Well, here's the thing. This is the funniest thing. I work at a grocery store, and that's having a Black Friday sales because my parent company is Kroger, and they basically have sent in a bunch of just dumb shit. Dude, we're selling TVs, bro.
Yeah, you did tell me about that.
Yeah, and they're selling.
I believe it.
But like, we're getting all like the kitchen gadgets and shit. Like we got like crock pots and shit we normally don't fucking carry, and it's just I understand from a business standpoint why my company's doing it, but it's like it's so stupid. And I'm like, what if these don't sell, assholes?
Well, and just like everybody is like, it's not even Black Friday anymore. They open up at like 6 p.m. on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, this literally isn't Black Friday. Walmart is doing a thing where if you utilize the app, like the pick up at store app or whatever,
mm-hmm.
you can get their deals a day early also.
Mm-hmm.
Like at 10 p.m. tonight on Wednesday night or whatever.
I think, technically, our Black Friday shit started like a couple days ago. Like you
fucking, I'm just like, what?
Yeah, we're like I think the TVs are like these like fucking 4K 50-inch HDRs for like $279 or some shit like that.
Yeah, and like I've been seeing shit crop up on Twitter left and right about like, oh, Black Friday deals are live on it. I could have got a copy of Call of Duty for like $38 days ago. It's not some Black Friday doorbuster anymore. It's just a thing that I could have gotten forever ago if I wanted to. Probably would have arrived by now.
Convenience is key.
I don't know. It's funny to me that it seems like this country has just gotten so like fucking gross and consumerist that everything gets earlier and earlier every year.
Hey, like God intended.
Just earlier and earlier. Let's call it fucking Black Wednesday, and then like you see the Christmas decorations going up in stores earlier and earlier every fucking year.
Bro, you saw me do Walmart's had Christmas shit up since like 2 months ago.
It's ridiculous, and I like Christmas.
Now here's the deal. Here's the thing with like especially Walmart and like Christmas shit. That shit goes up midnight after Halloween. You feel me?
Oh, bitch, please. Yeah. It's bad.
As the orange and black basically get sucked at, and like the green and fucking red come in.
Yeah, fly the colors type shit.
Oh shit! It's like that fucking it's like that scene from Harry Potter.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it just every now and then, are you just like ashamed to just live in this fucking like gross fucking world?
No, I'm proud to be American.
I mean, I am too. Don't get me wrong.
I'm proud
Red-blooded
to be an American. Well, at least I know I'm from.
But do you ever just sit back and just like look at it and just be like, God, just like do I want to bring a child into this world?
I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
No.
I look at it sometimes and I just think to myself, do I want them to see it? Do I want them to have to reap what generations have sown? Anyway, all that aside, Todd, there are much video games to talk about this week. As we notated on the show last week, we did not speak about Pokemon Sword and Shield. We did that with good reason, indeed. Because, indeed, last week, neither of us had really played too much of it. Or really, I had played a decent amount, but I had not really made very much progress in it.
Yeah.
And you had barely touched it all this time next week.
Yeah,
or last week.
Yeah, last week I essentially, at the time we recorded, I think I only played like the fucking tutorial, essentially.
Flash forward to a week later and you finished the story.
Shit, I finished the end game.
Yeah, so last week we focused on Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. This week we're going to kind of focus on Pokemon. Of course, we're going to cover the news. Some interesting things in the news this week, Todd. I was kind of worried that this is going to be a light news week. Not the case. Not the case at all.
Mm-hmm.
We've got some interesting stuff to talk about later on in the show. But let's begin with some Pokemon Sword and Shield discussion. Now, full disclosure, I have not finished the game yet. I'm like 22 hours, I think, like on my clock or whatever, but so much of that is also just like I'm trying to catch them all, Todd.
Yeah.
Or catch them most anyway. So I'm taking my time. I'm marinating. I do not move on from a route until I've caught all of the Pokemon on that route.
Yeah, no, fuck that.
Meanwhile, when I talked to you, it had been like a little while since I'd talked to you, and you're like, yeah, I beat the game. I'm like, oh, hi. So, you played through the story. Thoughts?
It's a Pokemon story. Nothing to write home about.
I've heard that this one is kind of like on the weaker end of Pokemon stories.
It's like it's a story, I suppose.
I feel like this game's story is just really so far, and I have not finished it yet. I'm pretty close. I think I only have one more gym battle. I think I'm literally about to do the last gym battle, and then of course you have to do all the champions and the end game and all that shit. I get that. Just doesn't seem like there's all that much going on with the actual like I don't know.
I mean, even shit, I personally didn't even really care to mess around with the wild area half the time.
That's interesting. I
Didn't
definitely
really
want to talk about that later because
Yeah.
I like the wild area a lot. It's really cool. But I don't know. I just sort of felt like, so far anyway, I just feel like the story is just very, very much like, and in fact, one thing that's been kind of annoying me about the game's story is when shit does get interesting, the game doesn't even let me interact with it. It's like, oh, there's a big explosion, but no, don't worry, I got this. You go on to the next gym.
Let the adults handle it.
And I'm like, well, wait, that sounded interesting.
Your goal is to do the gym challenge.
Keep your eye on the prize. Do the gym challenge. Now, to be fair, that is an element of the game story that I do like a lot. This new region, the Galar region, it's interesting. This is obviously based on like the UK and Britain and stuff like that specifically, and so I kind of like how this region treats the gyms a lot more seriously than the other regions. Like, it's a fucking event.
Oh, dude, I love like walking out onto the field. Essentially, it's great.
Yeah, that's real cool. Walking out onto the field, taking on the gym leaders.
Rocking my number, bitch.
What was your number?
22.
Oh, okay. Mine was 27. 27's like my go-to number.
Yeah. 22's been my go-to number.
Mine was 666.
Some edgelords did it.
Oh, I'm sure.
You know, some motherfuckers are doing 69.
In a different time, I probably would have done that.
What, 69? Oh, 666.
Either one, interchangeable. If I was about like 14 years old playing this, yeah, probably so. But so yeah, I do like that element of it. I like that there's an event-like quality to the gyms, and I also think that they took the idea of the gym challenges, which we sort of saw a little bit in Sun and Moon, and they did, I think, improve upon that a little bit too. Because for the most part, I've really enjoyed all the gym challenges.
And none of them annoyed me. The only one that actually annoyed me was like would be the ice gym for me and the rock gym for you.
That one actually didn't bother me. At least they're doing something different.
Yeah.
So that one didn't bother me too much. I'm more so just like glad that they're doing something at least a little bit different. But so yeah, that's the thing. That's basically what this game is. This game is go from one place to another, go to one gym to another, to the point where I think the game was like actually pretty short for you.
I think by the time I did like the story and end game, I think I was at like 17 hours.
Like, that's pretty short.
Yeah.
For a Pokemon game. Now, I know you like kind of rush through it a little bit. I know you kind of just like point A to point B kind of thing with it.
Yeah.
But that's still pretty fucking short for a Pokemon game.
I was reading like I was reading like an article about like you should be like your shit should be like your Pokemon should be at like 70 when you do the end game. That's false.
What do you mean?
My ass was not at 70.
Oh, you weren't?
Hell fucking no. I was at like low 60s.
I see.
And I'm like, and then the only thing that clicked in my mind, I'm like, oh wait, what side am I on? Oh, they're trash at video games.
Well, you were even telling me you didn't really grind or anything at all. This game doesn't really ever require you to grind.
Here's the thing. It's casual in the sense of, again, I'm not having to sit there. All my like team kind of stays around the same level because they're all getting the XP.
Exactly. So that was kind of a point of contention for some people.
Hey, you elitist fucks. I don't care.
Some people were upset at the experience share, and I can't remember if that's one of the things that you can actually turn off or not. I don't think you actually can. It's just like a part of the game mechanics in this one.
And it's a good thing.
It doesn't bother me. That never bothered me personally. I think they started that. They introduced the experience share as an item in one of the past, and maybe X and Y.
Well, here's my thing with it. If experience share was not a thing, I'd be sitting there with like 3 of my Pokemon at high levels because like there was 3 Pokemon that I like heavily used on my team, because they're basically able to like fucking bulldoze through basically every challenge.
Right.
Just because with all like the different like all the moves, because like fuck, because you traded me a Surfetched, and like that Surfetched had like 4 different fucking moves, like 4 different move types. And, like it's a fight. It has fighting, had a steel. I think it has a steel move. It has like bunch of shit. They're able to bulldoze through a lot of shit.
Right. There's some interesting things. I guess this is something we should talk about. So, when talking about this game, it's kind of hard to ignore the whole like the Dexit shit that people have been talking about. So we covered this on the show back when it was like a big point of contention for a lot of people. But to reiterate for folks that might not know, this game does not continue the tradition of Pokemon games of late where they have like literally the entire Pokedex available. This game has culled actually more than half of the Pokedex, to where I believe some people might consider this a spoiler, but I don't think it is a spoiler to say that this Pokedex, I believe, caps at 400.
Yep.
So this, compared to like the 900 plus Pokemon that currently exist across all generations, a lot of Pokemon, and maybe possibly your favorite Pokemon, did not make the cut into this game.
Gone in the wind. Just poof.
Yeah, so a lot of people are really upset about that. And I think there's something to be said about that. I could kind of understand on one hand.
No, I can see where like a lot of the people are like mad about that are coming from, but I personally don't give a shit.
It's a double-edged sword with this, though, I think, because there's some interesting things going on with that. Because I personally, I feel like because of Dexit, because the Pokedex is so much smaller now, you can have a situation where you can have more interesting type combinations, which this game has actually some really cool Pokemon with really interesting type combos.
Yeah.
And some of the Galarian Pokemon are great. I don't know about you, but I feel like some of the new Galarian Pokemon designs are really strong.
I love my Green Goblin boy.
Some of them are great. I mean, some of them are kind of like whatever, but as far as Pokemon generations go, I feel like this is one of the strongest in terms of new Pokemon design. Like,
I'm pretty sure, I think me and you have essentially done the same thing. Like, I think my team currently is full Galarian.
Yes.
And that's something I wanted to do anyways.
Yeah, I made the decision early on, like before the game even came out. I was like, I want to have a full Galarian Pokemon team. And there are enough interesting type combinations and enough interesting designs to where you can do that and feel pretty good about it.
Yeah, you get decent coverage.
Well, and another thing that's interesting is the Pokemon that they chose to carry over. And again, this feeds back into the Dexit thing. A lot of people are pissed off because they're like, what the fuck? You're going to bring back this Pokemon from like Diamond and Pearl, and like you're going to bring back this Pokemon from some of these like lesser known gens. But dude, I'm telling you, their Pokemon, I'm so unfamiliar with those less popular gens that they've chosen to sort of reemerge here.
Yeah.
That I thought they were new and they're not.
No, dude, dead ass. There was ones I didn't recognize. I looked them up. I'm like, oh, that's not from this gen.
Exactly. So to me, this makes the game feel even more fresh, if anything.
Yeah.
So not only do they have all of these new Galarian Pokemon that they've added, but they've worked in, and of course, I mean, look, it's a Pokemon game, motherfucker. You can get a Pikachu. Like, that's, don't worry about that. They have these classic Pokemon that have made it from Gen 1 and across all these different gens, but they've kind of gone back into the well and dipped into some of these lesser known Pokemon too, which I really kind of respect and appreciate. And then also, if Dexit is the reason why we have the Pokemon in the overworld, like it happens in this game, then instantly I'm like, cool, it was worth it.
Yeah, yeah.
I never want to play another Pokemon game where I have forced random encounters.
Mm-hmm.
Period. Like, that is such a game changer.
I love the way the random encounters are handled.
It's perfect. It's perfect the way it is in this one, because you can see Pokemon in the overworld, just walking around. If you want to engage with them, you can. And then there, if you want random battles, cool, that's there for you too.
And even then, you can choose to get the fuck out.
Yeah, you can completely avoid them. You could go through this entire game without a single, like, overworld Pokemon encounter if you wanted to.
It was so perfect for my speedrunning strats.
Well, and it's great for me because, like, for two reasons. Because in Pokemon games past, it's like you take 2 steps and it's like, oh, cool, another Zubat. And it takes you like,
dude, repel.
Exactly, yeah.
Repel all fucking day.
Well, and I wonder if that also has something to do with the fact that this game is shorter, because think about it. If you took the random battles out of the old Pokemon games, would they be shorter?
Hmm?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if you took the random encounters out of the Zubat cave in, like, fucking Pokemon Red or whatever, would it really be that long of a game? You end up spending like a fucking hour and a half in there when it should just take like 5 minutes. That's an interesting concept. So I love that about it. It also makes it better for actually hunting the Pokemon that you want to catch.
I want to say something too. There's also like even like the trainer fights. There's some of those you can fucking avoid.
Well, that's always been true. Even back in the past, you could kind of like, if you really wanted to cheese it, some of them would like look in different directions, and you could just like zoom right past them.
Bro, dude, I was dead ass doing that shit in this game, flying past motherfuckers.
Oh, see, I go out of my way for trainer fights. I always want to do trainer fights.
And here's the thing: the ones that I knew I had to do, I did. The moment I saw motherfuckers shifty-eyed, I'm like, cool.
Oh no, I go out of my way. If I see a trainer, like there's literally a moment where there's a trainer like on an island, and I'm like, I want to go fight you.
That's funny. I go out of my way to beat the children's asses, to break to ruin their dreams.
That's interesting to me that you actually actively avoid. Because here's, you know what it is, and this is another thing that I think is really interesting about this game. So, and I don't want to get too off topic here by talking about this, but a major thing that I'm really enjoying about this game thus far is actually the amount of customization that you have, and a lot of like the player choice you have in terms of like your aesthetics.
Yeah.
So there are purchasable like clothing options and hairstyle options and stuff like that. You can also customize your like collectible league card and stuff like that, which is really cool. I've definitely been fucking with that quite a bit. Like I've kind of made a habit of, after a major story beat, I go and check my league card maker to see if I've unlocked any new frames and stuff like that.
I haven't checked it in a while.
I really like it. Like I really like making my little collectible trading card basically. And it's, I don't know, it's just kind of fun. And yeah, being able to, and like the clothes in this game are so expensive. So long story short, I'm going out of my way to fight trainers because that's the best way to make money.
Can I tell you something? If you don't know what expensive is until you get to the last area.
Oh, I know. I've heard about it.
Yeah, it's like 100,000.
When you get to like Wyndon or whatever, when you go to like the upscale boutique where it's like fucking like leather shit.
Yeah, dude, 100,000.
Yeah.
100,000 a pop.
I don't know if I want to dress that fancy.
Well, dude, I personally don't even think that shit looks good.
I'll have to look at it for myself. I haven't gotten there yet. But yeah, I have heard about that. People are bitching about that on Twitter. But I'm like, it's kind of nice because in Pokemon games past, you end up with all this fucking money and nothing to spend it on. You know, so really all I spend my money on is like potions and Pokeballs. You talked about repels earlier. I haven't popped a repel once in this game.
No, yeah, same.
It's weird to me that they're even in the game at all, to be honest.
I don't think they're needed. Yeah, because the only thing I've really spent money on has been, potions, Pokeballs.
That's like literally it. Just potions, Pokeballs, and now, I've got a litany of clothing options.
The moment I can get like full restores, that's what I started buying.
Yeah, those are nice. But so it's just, I don't know. I like that the economy of the game feels a little more worthwhile to actually like your money your dollar goes further, I think, in this game, which I like. Yeah, no, I've had here's something that I wanted to kind of focus on with this discussion though, is this is the first Pokemon game that I've played, and I know you don't give a fuck about this, But this is the first Pokemon game where I've really kind of like dabbled in the min-maxy nature of Pokemon.
I respect that, but I've never been that person.
I haven't really before either. I've always known about the natures and the
That's about as far as I go.
Yeah, I know about the natures and the IVs and the EVs and all that crap, but I've never really cared about them until now, and I think that's because this game has got so many options for competitive play. I really do think that for competitive, and you see this divide even like in the community. If you go on the Pokemon subreddit, the competitive Pokemon players think this game is the fucking next coming of Christ. They love it. The competitive Pokemon players adore this game. But the people who play Pokemon purely for PvE, they're sort of like, cool, I played through the story in 20 hours and now I'm done and I'm not doing anything else with it. But for the people who play competitive Pokemon, they're like fucking balls deep in this and they love it. And it's got so many options for kind of building your perfect team. Like, the overworld encounters make it so easy to sit there or easier anyway, to grind out your perfect nature. There are ways to actually max out perfect IVs and EVs later in the game. There are now hidden abilities that you can access via max raid battles, which are really cool. You can actually change the nature of Pokemon. Like, there's a way to do that via these mints. You can actually like change your Pokemon's nature, which is unheard of. Breeding is of course still a thing. TMs can be used like infinitely, and there's also a new thing called like TRs. It's really cool. There's a lot of options for really building your perfect team in this one. And I've kind of gotten obsessed with that, Todd, I'll be honest with you. I've spent probably at least a solid few hours just trying to nail down my perfect team. And like their ultimate moveset and stuff like that. And I still haven't got it nailed down completely.
I respect that.
I still have not figured out what the final Pokemon in my team is going to be. But I'm sitting there agonizing over all their movesets. I know exactly which level they learn what and everything. And this is the first time I've ever been involved like that. This game has really inspired that in me. Not because I want to play competitively, by the way. But because those options are there, it makes me want to explore them. Mm-hmm. I don't really plan on playing this game competitively. Really ever. I might dabble a little bit, but I don't really plan on getting into it. I plan on... My trajectory of this game is I want to build my team, I want to max it out, and I want to try to catch as many Pokemon as possible, possibly catch them all. That's pretty much what I'm going with this game. And I want to get a good amount of time out of it and enjoy it and everything. But and with the Pokedex being so small now, comparatively, with only 400 Pokemon, I've already caught like 150 something of them. So it's like I'm already well on my way. So it's actually possible. It's an attainable goal on this one. You know what I mean? So that makes me happy. I don't know, man. There are a lot of things to like about this game. I think there are pros and cons to it. Now there's a part of me there's like a part of me that really is kind of like missing the really good PvE element of it. Like, there's a part of me that's missing a really solid Pokemon story. Like Pokemon X and Y and like Black and White, they had cool stories. Even Sun and Moon to some extent had more going on with its story than this.
Yeah.
And this story, it's not bad, it's just so simple.
Well, it's like, even I'll say this. I called it. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, yeah, and it's just, I don't know. There's even when this story thinks that it's like going to get interesting, it's really not. It's just a very basic. It's just that's the best word I can think of to describe it. It's the most basic Pokemon story we've had in a while. It just feels like this game just wants to get the story out of the way of the actual gameplay. And look, and the gameplay is the best the series has ever been. There's like the flashy, the battles are so like fast and snappy. The gym challenges are great. Like the characters, like the character designs, the character models, the fact that there's actually like expressiveness in the player character's face is nice now. I will say that I'm not one of these people that's sitting here like agonizing over the graphics or anything, but I do feel like the game could look better.
No, I agree with that.
I look at the game and I don't think like this is ugly, but it does sort of look like it's just a slight step up from like Sun and Moon.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm like, this is the first Pokemon on like a console. I feel like they could have reached a little bit further, but it doesn't really bother me. What is impressive is, especially once you get into some of the new mechanics of this game, Dynamaxing and Gigantamaxing is something we should talk about. When you get into that, it starts to look a little more impressive with the scale, right?
I'll be honest. I don't think I ever Gigantamaxed.
So you probably didn't, because the way that you get Gigantamax enabled Pokemon is via max raid battles. So that's a whole other thing. Like, max raid battles are a really interesting mechanic in this game, where you'll be out in the wild area, which, God, that's a whole other thing that we haven't even talked about yet, the wild area. But you'll be out in the wild area and you'll see they're called dens, and they'll have these battles against Gigantamaxed or Dynamaxed Pokemon. And it's you and 3 others, either AI or you can invite friends to join you. And I definitely want to do that with you at some point, because they are fun. And you take down this giant Pokemon, and then you get the opportunity to catch it. Now, doing max raid battles is the only way you can get a Pokemon with a hidden ability. And some of these hidden abilities are so dirty that it's almost like not even worth having the Pokemon if you don't have it with the hidden ability. Like, one of the new Pokemon that we both like is Appleton, but he's not really worth having on your team unless you have his hidden ability. And the only way you can get that is via his max raid battle. So it's just one of those things. It's really a lot of fun. The max raid battles are really cool. I know you didn't really fuck with the wild area, but I love it. I spend a lot of time out there.
No. I'm a speedrunner at heart.
And they presented me with open world. I don't like it.
Here's the thing. You know what it is? As I entered the wild area for the first time, I looked across it and I saw my path, and that's where I went.
Jesus. Yeah.
And as I went there a second time, they showed me the path, and that's where I went.
I loved it, man. I had a lot of fun. Like, I'm spending a ton of time like just exploring the wild area, seeing where different max raid battle dens are and stuff like that, finding like hidden items out in the world and stuff. And it gives you a taste of what have people always wanted from Pokemon? What are people consistently asking for and bitching for? They want open world kind of Pokemon like this, where you can like control the camera and stuff. And the wild area kind of gives us a little bit of a taste of what that might be like.
I don't like it. No, I'm just playing.
Well, it's to the point where I almost feel like the next time they make like when Gen 9 comes around, that's sort of what they need to do to please people at this point.
Whole game.
Just whole game open world like that. Yeah. Because that's a little bit of a half step to giving us that, but people want that. That's what people want Pokemon to be. They want it to be an open world game like that. So, I don't know. I'm really having a lot of fun with it. I'm really enjoying it. I like that. Let me ask you this. This is some real shit. Did you ever make a Pokemon camp?
I did.
So you did do that at least.
I did do that.
Did you create some curry? Did you fill in that curry dex?
I don't give a shit about that curry dex.
Oh, God. So much of this game that you either don't give a fuck or just didn't even see. Yeah, so it's cool because, like, I had that moment of realization where I'm in the wild area and I'm like, oh, wait, I basically have a mobile Pokemon Center, essentially, with my camp. And I can sit there and, like, play with my adorable Pokemon. It's, like, a really cool little function. I like it a lot. And you'll sometimes see, like, other players, if you're connected to the internet, you'll see other players' camps and stuff set up, and they'll give you items that you can use to put in your curry. I don't know, man.
That's lame, bro. No, I'm just playing. I do plan on messing with the wild area more now, but
there's a lot of shit in the game. Like, this game is deep, for sure. I plan on spending much, much more time with it. And like I said, I haven't even finished the story yet, so... But I'm really enjoying it a lot. I've had fun also, because you obviously got Shield and I got Sword, so it's been kind of fun finding, like, tracking down some of the version exclusives. I was grinding out my perfect Farfetch'd, or Surfetch'd rather, and managed to get one for you too that was in pretty good shape, so I sent that to you.
Oh, he was one of my babies.
So yeah, I've got my perfect nature, perfectly set up Surfetch'd, and he's always the first one to come out on my team for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then you've tracked down some of the version exclusives on Shield. There's a lot.
Yeah, I got you, trash.
As you named your Galarian Ponyta,
Yes,
trash.
I did.
So I don't know, man. I really like the game a lot. It's definitely scratching a certain itch for me. Maybe I'm a little disappointed with certain things, like the story, but for the most part, I'm having a lot of fun with the game.
I'm gonna tell you how the story ends right now.
It's just, it's just simple. It's not bad. It's just simple. I think that if you're a competitive Pokemon player, there's a lot to love here. I think this is a really easy sell to people who are competitive with Pokemon. If you just care about PvE, maybe there's a little bit less to love for you, but either way, I'm having a lot of fun with it. It's a really good, I think, Pokemon debut on Switch. I'm really interested to see, now that they've got this one kind of out of their system, I'm really interested to see Gen 9 on Switch and see what that looks like. Because they always kind of come out and they're like, okay, like, we're going to try this out. New system, we're still kind of figuring it out, and then the next one's usually really good.
First, we have to get Pokemon Gun.
That's true. Pokemon Axe.
Pokemon Bow.
Pokemon AK. Anyway, that's pretty much all I've got to say about Pokemon. Unless you wanted to add anything else, we can move on to the news.
Well, I'm going to tell you about Hop. No, I'm just playing. I don't give a shit.
Oh, Hop? The new rival?
Well, technically, there's like 3 rivals in that fucking game.
Yeah, if you want to be technical. But Hop is positioned as the main rival. But I'm telling you right now, the main rival should have been Marnie.
Oh, no, I agree.
Just saying.
No, I agree.
Marnie is best girl.
Yeah.
Best new character.
Then you got... I'm just going to call him Buddy.
Yeah, because that's close enough to how you pronounce his name anyway.
Beady?
Bede or Beady? I don't fucking know.
Bade? I don't fucking know.
All these names are stupid, damn it. Anyway. You ready for some news, Todd?
I'm always ready for the fucking news, Seth. No,
I've prepared you a fine dish this week. I want to watch you eat it.
Are you sure about that?
I'm a feeder. No,
No. Are you sure about that?
Yeah, you're right. I could probably watch you eat. I don't think, but listening to you is something else.
See, you say that.
That's true. I feel like if you and I were like locked in a room,
I am Jabba the Hutt.
You know what I'm picturing right now? I'm picturing you and I just like locked in a room, and sitting in front of you is a breaded steak sandwich from Rick and Benny's. And I'm just like forced like Clockwork Orange style.
Now, again, I can explain to you how that will go. The shirt comes off for one.
Oh, God. You just start hearing like the Primal Warrior drums just rip the shirt off.
The shirt comes off for one, for the drippage.
Oh, God. And there is drippage.
There will be some drippage. Oh, shit.
That sandwich is so delicious, but it's so fucking disgusting. It's like at once the most. It's like the best and worst thing I've ever put in my body at the same time.
Again, you gotta. Here's the thing with a breaded steak sandwich in general, they're usually pretty messy like that. You gotta go. You gotta go hard or go home. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just like you gotta accept what you're about to do.
But with the Rick and Benny's one, they just don't even give a shit. Like they just like. You shouldn't put that much marinara on the sandwich.
You shut your fucking mouth, all right?
You really shouldn't. But they do it anyway.
No, I want to come when I lift my head up when that sandwich is done. I want that shit to be just dripping down my chin.
And it is.
No, it fucking is.
And it is. And they just put like a fucking there must be half a block of mozzarella cheese on that sandwich. So it's stupid. It's like stupid, but it's delicious.
Did you eat the whole thing? I don't even remember.
No, I didn't eat the whole thing. We split it in 3 parts.
Oh, that's right. We did. We
got like the big one and split it in 3 parts, and like I ate mine, and Anastasia like was so grossed out she didn't even want it. So you ate hers and yours.
God bless. And then I about killed the entire pizza too.
So yeah, you're right. Maybe I couldn't watch you eat. Anyway,
moral of the story.
The moral of the story is maybe that would be too much for me. From a sensory perspective, you're a sensory nightmare. You understand? You're an abomination to the senses.
That's true.
You know, sometimes they call something a delight to the senses. You are not a delight to the senses.
No,
I don't like to. I don't like to hear you. I don't like to see you. I wouldn't like to taste you. I wouldn't like to feel you. In every way, you offend the senses in every conceivable way. You understand what I'm saying?
It's getting a little hurtful now.
Just
Shit.
oh, I've tasted you several times. You know this.
Yeah.
Anyway,
don't lie to them.
Hurtful, homoerotic, flipping on a dime.
Like God intended. No,
God didn't intend that. No, I'm just kidding. You ready for some news, Todd?
Always.
Todd, it's time. It's finally time to sunset Battleborn.
Pour one out for the homie, I guess.
Pouring out. You know what's hilarious? It's funny you say that. That is verbatim what Randy Pitchford said on Twitter about it.
That's funny.
Pour one out for the homie. So yeah, plans were announced this week to fully sunset Gearbox failed hero shooter / MOBA Battleborn.
The game was destined for fucking failure.
From the get-go. Allow me to detail its funeral arrangements for you.
Oh, God.
In January of 2021, servers for the game will be taken offline and the game will be at that point made unplayable. The game has already been delisted from online storefronts, and in February of next year, players will no longer be able to purchase the game's virtual currency. During the 11-month gap between then and the game's death, players will still be able to spend their currency that they already have, but no other changes will be made to the game. So as we said, Todd, Battleborn, this game was doomed from the start.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when it released, not only was it not in great shape, it was like pretty rough around the edges.
Yep.
But they made the mistake of thinking that they could launch it within the same launch window as Overwatch.
Mm-hmm.
And Overwatch just like summarily shit in that game's serial. Like it wasn't even close.
I remember when it came out, that shit was just hilarious to me.
And I just remember like people would even ask them like in interviews, like Randy Pitchford or whoever, like, hey, aren't you guys launching a little close to Overwatch? And he was just, they were just like, oh no, they're different games. They're going to find different audiences. And it's like, no.
I mean, it's kind of the same audience.
They are very different games because obviously Battleborn has more of that MOBA influence.
Yeah, it's definitely more MOBA-ish.
But they still, when you've got 2 games on the market that are kind of scratching a similar itch, people are going to pick Overwatch. Sorry. That being said, the game has obviously found an extremely loyal like fan base of diehards. It's got a little bit of a cult following. I'm sure all 12 of those people are upset about this news. So, I know what you're thinking, Todd. You and I, we're not Battleborn fans, so why do I care to bring up this story at all? It's because I think there's an interesting conversation to be had here. Because what I'm telling you is not just that the servers are going down and you can't play the game online anymore. What I'm telling you is that you cannot play the game at all anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Even the single-player content runs off of their servers. So once this game dies, it's dead. You can't play it. Yeah, it's not just like one of these games where the servers are going to go offline, you can't play the multiplayer. No, you cannot play this game at all anymore after 2021. This game is going to cease to exist It's going to have like that meme that's going around, like I'm going to tell my kids that this was Battleborn, you know, because it's going to be fucking dead. Now, there are rare cases of this happening. I'm thinking of like PT, right? Where they sort of erased that game from the storefront.
Yeah.
Because PT obviously was a big sort of like, literally was called playable teaser. It was like a big playable demo for what would have been Kojima's Silent Hills. And once that game got shit canned, they said, oh, hey, like let's scrub this game from existence. And they did.
I truly wonder what that game would have been.
Yeah, I wonder. But do you think that this says something about the all-digital future that we're kind of moving towards? Because, like, we're happy and we're confident to pay money for digital games and, like, own them digitally. But what happens when these publishers decide, like Gearbox has, to just pull the plug? You know what I mean? Like, think about it. If you had paid $60 for Battleborn when it launched, and, like, imagine you paid $60 for it, you actually like the game, you've loyally played it since 2016, and you're one of these fans, and suddenly, like, Gearbox and 2K are telling you that the game you bought no longer exists and you cannot play it.
You know what I would personally feel like?
What?
Betrayed.
I'd be pissed. I'd be fucking furious. I have to imagine that, because you and I, obviously, we're both basically full digital with video games. I'm not gonna lie, for some reason, like it's weird. I've gone full digital with games. I've gone full digital with music. For some reason, movies, I'm still buying Blu-rays. I don't know why.
I'm full digital.
But yeah, I mean, we're in this full digital world. Does a story like this give you pause?
No, I accept it as what it is. The future.
Like, you think that's just part and parcel with it?
Future.
Like, you think that's just sort of a necessary con to all the other pros of the digital future?
Yes.
I would just be, God, I'd be so pissed if I were if I were a hardcore Battleborn fan and like they were telling me.
Here's the thing. You know what they got to realize? Battleborn was a shit game. Yeah.
Not to them. Do you think these people are entitled to refunds?
See, that's an interesting thing.
I don't think they are.
No, I don't think they are either.
Now, what I mean by that is I don't think Gearbox is doing that. But like, if it were me, I would probably be seeking restitution. I'd be pretty pissed.
Yeah.
I mean, I gave you $60. And it would be one thing if the servers are going down and I couldn't play the PvP. I would understand. I'd be like, okay, you know what? The game didn't find its audience.
I feel like that's where it's gone too far, to the point where you can like legitimately not play it at all.
That game after 2021,
I just feel like that's bad. That's just bad design. If it was everything was tied to the servers.
After 2021, dude, that game will be Thanos snapped. It will not exist. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I wonder how the people that worked on it must feel. I don't know.
They know what they made. No, talking shit.
I don't know. Game development's hard, dude, and it's hard for some of these games to find an audience and stuff like that. But it does make me think. I'm just like, God damn, like.
Well, it doesn't help when games get pushed out trying to compete with better games.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's fine, and you could say what you will about 2K as a publisher on that one or whatever, whoever made that decision, but also, it just makes me think, like, what if that were to happen with a game that I like? Like, what if I played a game that I really enjoyed, and I played it loyally, and it never caught an audience, or something like that, and then just all of a sudden, boom, fuck you. And this is not a game that launched as free-to-play. It eventually went there.
Yeah.
But this game launched as a full $60 retail product. Like, ugh, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird and it's messy. So, moving on from that though, Todd, it seems like Capcom may be hard at work on a remake of Resident Evil 3. Does this tickle your pickle?
Not really.
Does this arouse you at all?
I'm just kind of tired of the remakes.
Are you? Because, I mean, I own it. I have not played it, but I've heard that Resident Evil 2 remake was amazing.
There's a one remake that I would take, and you know what that is.
Oh, of Demon Souls?
Yeah, that's the only thing I would give a shit about.
So you mean that you're getting sick of remakes in general?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just sick of remakes. I would rather at this point give me either just new entries in a game or straight up new IP. I'm just kind of sick and tired of just seeing old games just coming back.
I mean, surely Capcom has to be working on Resident Evil 8 in tandem with this, right?
I'm assuming.
I mean, you have to assume that. I mean, I don't know. This is all just a rumor, but Eurogamer does report that they've heard from various sources that a remake of Resident Evil 3 Nemesis is indeed in the works and aiming to be released in 2020. And this was sort of an obvious next step, I think, because the RE2 remake was a massive hit. Like I said, everybody loves it, so it's both a commercial and critical success when that game released early this year. The game actually sold 3 million copies in its first week. And it's among Game of the Year discussions for fans. I think it was actually announced as one of the Game Awards nominees for Game of the Year. So people love that RE2 remake, and it seems like they're kind of fast-tracking 3 at this point, probably with the same engine, to come out next year. So I almost wonder if that's going to be a Game Awards announcement. Maybe they try to go for that synergy of like, hey, Resident Evil 2 was a Game of the Year nominee, and now here's a Resident Evil 3 remake announcement.
Terrible.
I wonder if that's going to be a thing. We'll see. We'll add that to my pile of Game Awards predictions that's slowly starting to accumulate over the past couple of weeks on the show. So, I don't know. Like I said, I own the RE2 remake. I hear amazing things. I want to play it. They should have released that game at a different time. They should have released that game in time for Halloween the year previous. And I would have actually played it at that time, but it slipped through the cracks for me. But I will play it one day. And I don't know. I'm not sick of remakes. I'm not in that boat.
Kill the past.
I like a good reason to replay some games that I really like. I don't have any like huge amount of nostalgia for Nemesis.
The only time I'm down for remakes if it's like a remake of a game that I never played.
Right.
Because I was able to play Shadow of Colossus because of that and whatever.
Right.
But I don't know.
Well, and that's another like weird conversation that you have to have too. Is it a remake or is it a remaster or whatever? Shadow of the Colossus, that's a remake.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Resident Evil 2, that's a remake.
Yep.
And like if they apply that same sort of thing to 3, then that's also going to be a remake. But like for example, I'm even okay with remasters because like last year they put out the Okami HD on Switch, which is on sale right now, by the way, and everybody should go buy it and play it because it's one of the best games ever made. But Okami HD, they released that on Switch, and it gave me a reason to go back and play Okami again, and I really had a great... I've spent like 40 hours with it. I had a great time, so... I don't know. For games that I really, really, really enjoy, I mean, I've said on the show a million times, if/when they drop Twilight Princess and Wind Waker HD, anything else I'm playing at that time is going to go on hold.
See, I talk shit, but I know I'd buy them.
You're just full of shit, aren't you there, Todd?
Yeah.
You're just full of shit.
I see. It's when it's games I like. No.
What's games I asked you if it tickled your pickle. Only games you like tickle your pickle. Is that it?
Yeah. I'm picky.
You're picky, aren't you?
Yeah. No.
You're just a little pervert, aren't you, Todd? I'm just kidding. Oh, Todd, in a post on the Square Enix blog this week, Final Fantasy VII Remake, another remake for you there, Todd. Director Tetsuya Nomura clarified that work has already begun on the second part of the episodic release format of the game. So that's even more, that's the most anti-Todd formula that you can have there. Not only are they remaking Final Fantasy VII, it's going to be an episodes, biatch. Yeah. That's just Square Enix saying, hey, Todd, suck my dick.
That's trash.
Do you have any interest in that? You're not a Final Fantasy guy.
If it was the full game, maybe.
I wonder. I would love actually to get your impressions on Final Fantasy VII. That would be really fascinating.
If it was a full game, maybe.
No, it's not. Well, what's interesting is, so that's something that we've been kind of nervous about, right? So like they announced that it was going to be released as these like separate episodic games. And we're like, okay, well, what does that mean? How much is going to be in each game? How long is it going to take for each game to be released? Are the games going to be smaller because of this? So that's going to be something that remains to be seen. It sounds like part 1 or whatever that is releasing in March, from what they say, is that it is going to have enough content to justify the full $60 price tag, but it's only going to include like the Midgar section of Final Fantasy VII, which is just the first part.
So they have to be adding like shit to do.
Oh, I'm sure. But then like on top of it, it's like, dude, like this game is it's gonna take them like fucking. This game isn't gonna wrap up until like 2030. You know. I'm just like, God, like how long is it? It is comforting to know that they're already working on part 2. So maybe now that the engine is in place, and maybe now that all the kind of like hard legwork has been done, maybe the rest of it will kind of follow suit. But I gotta be honest with you, Todd, the gameplay that we've seen looks pretty fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
For that game. I'm very, very hyped to play that game. I do have a quote from Nomura trying to sort of like quell the fears of fans. He says, quote, "Opportunities for discussing our true intentions are few. But with regard to the size of the game that many are asking about, there's no reason at all to worry. Even in this Midgar portion alone, the density and volume are so great that I actually had to give directions to lighten them. We've already begun working on the next one as well, but I'm confident that playing through this title will expand your expectations, just like the world that extends beyond Midgar." So in other words, he's saying, don't worry, we got you. This game, we added so much shit to this game that I actually had to tone it down, is what Nomura is saying. So I guess we'll see. We will not have to wait long to wait and see the scale of this game for ourselves, Todd. Final Fantasy VII Remake will finally release on March 3rd, 2020. I know you'll be there at midnight for that.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Oh, Todd, I got one last bit of news before we wrap it up, and I suspect that you'll be very interested to hear this. Rumors of a new Fable game have been swirling around for some time now, Todd.
Okay, you have my attention.
Your ears perked up, didn't they?
A little bit.
We've been talking about this for a little while now. There's been rumors for a long time that a new Fable game is being developed by the UK-based Playground Games. That's the Forza guys. There's been rumors that they've been working on a new Fable game. I don't know if you remember this, earlier this year, there were alleged details of the game's setting and plot supposedly being leaked, which we covered on the show. But it seems like all of the noise around this rumored project may not be entirely unfounded, Todd, because earlier this week, Reset Era... Is it Reset Era or Reset Era? Is it all one word?
I mean, it looks like it's one word.
I never fucking knew.
But I'm assuming you still pronounce it like Reset Era. Or call it Resetera.
Yeah, Resetera. I've heard both. I don't know. Reset Era discovered the work of a Brazilian concept artist that appears to have pieces of concept art associated with Playground Games. This concept art features a female character, with notes on the art taking direct inspiration of her design from Anne Hathaway, of all people. And she's wearing this sort of like 16th century European kind of attire, and she's got a sword. And the art style looks very Fable. Like, very much in line with Fable. If you actually pull up this concept art and look at it, it looks a lot like Fable. And with the rumors that Fable 4 will see a destroyed Albion and largely take place somewhere else, I think the plot even went as far as to say that it was going to be on a different planet. Like a different realm altogether that you access via demon doors. This new kind of art direction, kind of going with a 16th century European thing, it kind of somewhat lines up with that. And we also see other pieces of concept art from the same person that feature medieval villages that look, again, very Fable. Like, it looks right at home with Fable. This artist has since kind of come forward and asked that the images be removed, but, it's too late. It's on the internet, buddy. It's too late. And he actually went as far as to say that the art was not tied to any official project, nor is this person an employee of Playground Games. But he says, or they say, that this art seems to have been used as some sort of a job application for Playground Games. And that's what the deal is as part of applying for a position at Playground, they had to provide samples of concept art. Now, here's the question, Todd. even though this person is saying that this is not tied to anything happening at Playground Games, why would it be that a quote-unquote art application, so to speak, why would that line up so perfectly with a potential Fable 4?
Because they're fucking bullshitting.
In other words, well, yeah, and in other words, basically what I'm saying is Playground Games probably says, hey, we're working on a new Fable game, and if you want to join the art team for this, show us some concept art. What would your concept art for a new Fable game look like? And that's what this guy made.
Mm-hmm.
So, or girl, I'm not sure, but that's what they made. So it's like, it's pretty obvious to me that these rumors are founded. What I'm not sure about is how far along in development Fable 4 is. I sort of feel like it's in the early days, especially if they're still hiring concept artists.
Yeah.
So I sort of, I mean, this was always obviously going to be a Scarlet title if and when this happens, but I sort of feel like this is very much like, I really, really want a new Fable game, but I feel like this is still on shaky ground. Until I get an official acknowledgement from Microsoft, like, I really, until there's some sort of official acknowledgement that, yes, Playground is working on a new Fable game, here's some art, here's a trailer, or whatever, I feel like this project is on shaky ground right now. I don't know. I just want a new Fable game.
Shit.
There were all these rumors that sounded so interesting earlier this year, where it was talking about, like, they used, like, some mad king used the Spire to destroy Albion with, like, an asteroid, and, like, you and Teresa, like, escaped through a demon door to another realm. It sounded really cool.
Sounds cool to me.
And in this realm, like, magic works differently, and there's no guns and stuff like that.
See, can I tell you something? That's, like, what that sounds like? Let's make a Fable game, but it won't be Fable. You feel me?
Yeah. I mean, sort of, but even if you go back to the way that the Fable series evolved over time, and some could probably argue got worse over time, like, Fable 3 is a very different game from Fable 1.
Yeah, it definitely is.
So I almost feel like Fable is in this kind of interesting experimental place where they can kind of play a little bit. Like, when I read that plot leak, it sort of actually excited me.
Yeah.
Because I was like, okay, cool. Like, they're doing something interesting with Fable and Fable's lore and Fable's story, and not just, like, weird Peter Molyneux gameplay shit. Because, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love weird Peter Molyneux gameplay shit, but that was the whole thing with Fable 3. Like, he was like, yeah, you're gonna, the first half of the game is like a real Fable game, but fucking the rest of it, you're gonna be a king. It's like,
oh, yeah, that's right.
All right.
You have to make these decisions.
You're gonna have to go back on every promise you make during the main campaign. It's just weird. It's weird. I like it.
I forgot. I honestly forgot about that shit.
No, that's a thing, bro. That's a thing. That's what Fable 3 is all about. And then there was a weird Connect game.
The only thing I remember of Fable is between you and Jacob.
You want to jump on Fable and fuck me? Yeah, good times. That's another thing is, like, I sort of forgot that, like, Fable 2 and 3 had, like, online co-op.
Yeah.
Like, solid online co-op.
We could have a child together.
Yeah, oh yes.
I think we did have a child together.
I think we did, and one of us carried the other's seed. It's probably me. I'm always playing as girls.
It was definitely you.
I'm always playing as women in video games, and you refuse to break free of your gender norms.
I mean, I still what?
You're so stuck in the past, Todd.
Yeah.
You're a little just living in that conservative bubble, aren't you?
Yeah.
So afraid to break free. God damn it, Todd. When's it going to be your time? I know you want to break free. I know you want to let your freak flag fly.
Every time you say the Breaking Free, the song from, like, High School Musical, it's like going in my head. I don't know.
The fact that you have a song from High School Musical going in your head says all I need to say.
I know. It's terrible.
I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about.
I know.
I've never once seen High School Musical.
I did. I unfortunately did.
Oh, wait, you're talking about the We're Breaking Free. I know that one. That's okay, yeah, I do know that one.
Then fuck you, bitch.
I always know that song. I know that song not as the Breaking Free song. I know that as the Soarin' Flyin' song.
No?
If those words were said, then that song would probably pop into my head too.
No.
But you've said all you said all I need to say.
You.
Anyway, Todd, maybe one day you and I can consummate our love in Fable 4 on Scarlet.
Oh, I thought that was going to go to a different place.
Ooh.
Because we can do that in January.
Ooh. Whoa.
It's been a weird podcast.
Fuck it.
It's late, damn it.
It is late. In a little bit of a loopy state, but that's all right, Todd, because this podcast is now over. That's all I've got for the news. Unless you want to add anything else, I think we can put a bow on it and send it off to the kids.
I'm sorry, everyone.
Yeah, maybe that's how we should just introduce every podcast. Just sorry. All right, Todd, you naughty little minx. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks for listening. Get fucking dunked on. Bye.
See ya.
Hey there, thanks for checking out another fantastic Nerd Bourbon video. If you like what you saw and you want to see more, be sure to go ahead and subscribe, leave us a like, drop us a nice comment, or I guess a mean one if that's your prerogative. But until next time, get dunked on.